And what's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of the Live, Laugh, Left podcast. Live, Laugh, Left, Season 4, Episode 31. Yay! A bit of a shorter episode. Bristol is in the books. Got a lot to talk about as far as a Cup Series cutoff and other shakeups in the other series. Only a couple of things, silly season-wise, and then we'll preview this weekend's action at New Hampshire. But first, we got to recap.
New Hampshire for the lobster.
Drew.
Anyways, continue.
First, we got to recap New Hampshire. No, not here.
It's okay.
We got to recap Bristol. And I do want to apologize for miscommunication in the last episode. This was not a cutoff race for the Truck Series. This was a cutoff only for the Cup Series. I was misinformed. So, there were no cutoffs this week for trucks. Alas, it was still a fairly crazy Thursday night. Lane Riggs went spinning on the very first lap of the race after starting in the 7th position. More on him later. Tyler Ankrum went around spinning in stage 2. And then on the restart, Jake Garcia would crash. But there really wasn't a whole lot of other crazy action, like as far as crashes went on the track. A lot of tire problems. It was a very bad weekend for tires all around. So that was really starting to pop up here. But at the end of the day, it would be Lane Riggs. Remember him? We just talked about him like a minute ago. He came all the way back from that lap 1 spin and came back to win the race.
I think he's the back-to-back fall Bristol race winner. Forget what I'm trying to fix my computer thing because it pops up, so that's why I was trying to push it down.
Yeah, congratulations, Lane Riggs. Oh, Gary's gone. Congratulations, Lane Riggs. Did a really good job there. Really putting the pressure on for Corey Heim for the championship, which is kind of cool. Because he needs somebody to challenge him. Otherwise, he's going to get bored and he's going to retire. So, gotta do better than that. But it was good. Good job, Lane Riggs. He wins and he advances to the second round. The Xfinity race saw some more craziness. Kyle Sieg went around early. And he collected Ryan Ellis and Sammy. Collected Ryan Ellis in the chaos and caused Ryan Ellis to first exit of the race. The first playoff trouble struck with Sammy Smith. He was having a good night until he lost the motor. So that was great. So he lost a lot of points there. Corey Day went around first spin and collected Stephen Parsons. Daniel Dye went sliding in stage 3, as did Carson Ware. Jesse Love lost a tire after he was having a pretty good night going. Taylor Gray had a slide. So a lot of tire problems. There were some engine problems. A lot of mechanical stuff going on. But a pretty typical Bristol night, all things considered. But at the end of the night, it would be Eric Almirola that would hold off late charges from both Sam Mayer and Sheldon Creed to win the race. So Eric Almirola back in victory lane. Again, only on a part-time schedule, so he's not fighting for the championship or anything, but he does get the win, which is pretty cool. Because Eric Almirola is a pretty cool person, so good win for him. And in the Cup race, we get to the Cup race now. Tire issues were a bigger deal than they had been before, but any of these other two races, we were getting spring 2024 vibes with the rubber getting pushed up onto the top lane of the track, and it was just like collecting there, and it was very weird. I don't like when that happens, but it happened here. I don't know why it became a problem again. Maybe it was just track temperature problems or something. Who knows? But not too many other crazy chaotic stuff, at least for the most part in the race. Josh Berry lost the motor early, which took him out of playoff contention mercifully. I like to note that he wrecked out or blew a motor, so he DNF'd all 3 playoff races so far. That is pretty bad. I have to say that is probably one of, if not the worst, playoff performances ever. I don't think, like, drivers, like, there's been drivers that, like, sneak in and are not supposed to be there, right? We've seen that in the past. We saw that with, saw that Mike McDowell in 2016. We saw that with Tony Stewart that same year. We saw that with Ricky Spinhouse in 2017. We saw that with Austin Dillon 3 times. We've seen that with so many other, or I guess 4 times really. Seen that so many other drivers. But at least they have finished races. At least they had some chances. Like even Harrison Burton last year in this very same car. He almost won Atlanta and would have advanced to the second round. He didn't, but he almost did. Josh Berry crashed out twice and then blew an engine. He didn't even try. That's sad. So that was a merciful end to his championship hopes. Alex Bowman fighting for his playoff life as well, went around sliding in stage 2. By the way, Alex Bowman had a great looking paint scheme. Have to give that credit. And then on the ensuing restart from that spin, Michael McDowell and Ricky Spinhouse, both aforementioned, went around sliding. Shane Van Gisbergen did not have a good night going. He spun twice in a row. Once at the end of stage 2 and once to start stage 3. A great night for him. Cole Custer had a slide. That ended up breaking an axle. Noah Gragson had a slide. Chase Elliott would end up getting punted into the outside wall. Is only his second DNF of the season. And it almost killed his chances of making it to the second round, but fortunately he squeaked by. Ricky Spinhouse spun again. Kyle Larson had a slide, which took him out of contention after an okay night. Denny Hamlin's crew fucked up and he lost a wheel, which then took out AJ Allmendinger and William Byron in the process. That was a pretty big crash. Well, it wasn't really a crash, but it was more just like chain reaction bullshit, you know. Ty Gibbs, by the way, had this race in the bag until his ass tried to pit. Because, you know, with bad tire wear, we have to have green flag pit stops every 50 laps at Bristol. 25 miles we hit the pit. What is this? Anyway, so Ty Gibbs trying to come down pit road. Oh, sorry, I'm Ty Gibbs. I actually don't know how to drive. So I missed pit road. So that ended his night. From had any chance of winning. Austin Cindric had a terrible end to the night too, with his car catching fire. Same thing happened to Chad Fincham almost immediately afterwards. Brake fires, gotta love them. Bubba Wallace had a good night going until he crashed out late, which then set up a last dash restart, which saw Christopher Bell, who restarted in this final position in 6th, weave his way through the field, make a late pass, and then hold off a late charge from an even faster Brad Keselowski to win the race. Christopher Bell wins. completing a Toyota round 1 playoff sweep. And more importantly, I got a fantasy win again. Fantasy win again.
Let me remind you, everybody, not only did he win in NASCAR, but me, him, and some of my friends and family do a fantasy football league. This man's undefeated.
That's right. I'm a wiener.
Somehow, some way, he didn't even do the draft. That's the funny thing.
I auto-drafted and got an A+ grade. That's just how good I am.
Like, what the actual... And he's the defending champion.
That's right. Bite me in the comments. I'm a winner at fantasy football and NASCAR.
No, you're not a winner at fantasy football. You're just getting lucky.
We'll see about that.
We are seeing about that.
But yep, Christopher Bell pulls off the win. His first win since that three-peat that he did early in the season. It's our 6th fantasy win, by the way, and we are leading the standings. We are alone at the top currently in our standings with 7 races to go. So that is pretty fun. But back to actual NASCAR stuff. There were eliminations. The 4 drivers eliminated from the Cup Series playoffs are, without surprise, Josh Berry. Already talked about him. Also without surprise, though sadly, Shane Van Gisbergen got eliminated. He was the only one of these drivers, I think, that came in above the cut line and missed it. Which isn't
because he sucks.
Yeah, he was pretty bad. He had some pretty bad races. They weren't Josh Berry levels of bad, but not good enough to advance.
He's only a road course ringer. Admit
Austin Dillon got eliminated. Also not that big of a surprise. And the quote-unquote heartbreaking one, Alex Bowman, barely missed out on a playoff spot in the second round, which allowed Austin Cindric, who we talked about earlier, got caught on fire. Austin Cindric snuck in. He was the first one to make it in. So, but that is the 4 drivers eliminated. Gotta say, I'm not sad to see any of them go. Except Shane Van Gisbergen, because it would have been really funny if he had made the round of 8. I think that would have been really funny. But the other ones, I don't care. I don't care at all.
He wasn't going to make it to the round of 8. That was the thing. And I told everybody.
There was one penalty to come out of Bristol as well. And it, as if you were listening earlier, it's coming with the 11 team. And Denny Hamlin's crew, a couple of his crew members, are now suspended for the next 2 races after the loose wheel at Bristol. So they're going to miss New Hampshire and the Roval. Are going to be the 2 races they miss. So, no. New Hampshire and Kansas are the next 2. So
there you go.
And then the Roval is after that. So they'll be back for the Roval. So that was the only penalty. We'll go over the standings now. Again, no cuts for Xfinity or Truck, but they raced last week, so there's going to be a change in the standings. So we'll start with the Truck Series. As they enter their cutoff race, New Hampshire is the cutoff race for them. It's getting pretty cut and dry, but still some chances for change. The 2 let's see, Daniel Hemrick, 51 points above the cut line. He's pretty good to go. Corey Heim and Lane Riggs, by the way, locked in on wins. Daniel Hemrick, 51 points above the cut line. I think he's good to go. Ty Majeski's also in a good position, 46 points above the cut line. I think he's going to be fine. Grant Enfinger and Tyler Ankrum are both tied for 5th, 29 points above the cut line. They should be okay, but they need to at least still try at New Hampshire. But then we get kind of into that danger zone. Caden Honeycutt, 7th, is 18 points above the cut line, and the last driver currently in to the next round is Raja Karuth, who sits 14 points above the cut line. So they need to have some good runs in order to ensure that they can stay up there. The two drivers fighting for their lives going into New Hampshire, Jake Garcia in 9th, 14 points below the cut line, and Chandler Smith, 24 points below the cut line. So they need to have some good runs and maybe a little bit of luck to advance. Sometimes I wonder what Garry does.
Back.
The Xfinity cut line. Nobody locked in because there was none of the playoff drivers won Bristol. This is their first race of the playoffs, so nobody's locked in yet. But Connor Zilic, 85 points now above the cut line. He is sitting in a really good position. As is Justin Allgaier, who's 53 points above the cut line in second. Sam Mayer's doing pretty good too, 35 points above the cut line in third. But then we kind of get pretty close after that. Carson Kvapil, fourth, is only 16 points above the cut line. Harrison Burton has moved up above the cut line now. He sits fifth, 9 points above the cut line. Brandon Jones is 8 points above the cut line. Sheldon Creed is 7 points above the cut line. And the last driver above the cut line right now is Taylor Gray, who is 3 points above the cut line. And then below the cut line, Nick Sanchez and Jesse Love both tied for 9th, both 3 points below the cut line. Then you get Austin Hill, 16 points below the cut line. And Sammy Smith, after the blown motor, minus 24. Huge loss in points for Sammy Smith. So really, outside of the top 2, maybe 3, it could be anybody's race for the Xfinity Series. But they still have a couple races to go before their first cut. And now, the Cup Series playoff grid. Cut down to 12, the points reset. Here are the standings. Denny Hamlin, despite the penalty, sits atop the standings, 26 points above the cut line. William Byron and Kyle Larson are tied for second, actually, both plus 24. Christopher Bell, after his Bristol win, is plus 20. Ryan Blaney, plus 19. Chase Briscoe, plus 10. Chase Elliott, plus 5. Bubba Wallace, plus 1. So a very tight starting window for him. And then you get below the cut line. Austin Cindric, minus 1. So he's still got a good chance. Joey Logano and Ross Chastain are tied for 10th, both minus 2. And Tyler Reddick starts at the bottom, minus 3. So nobody really in a super good position starting off the second round. So that could be quite interesting. It could be quite interesting indeed. As we enter I don't want to call it a crazy round. I don't call New Hampshire and Kansas crazy tracks, though Kansas has been kind of goated lately, so maybe we'll see some good action there. And then there's the Roval, which is an absolute crapshoot, so who knows what the fuck's going to happen there. But anyways, that is Bristol, so we're going to put it in the books. The only piece of silly season news that I had otherwise was that Raja Karuth is going to be driving the 17 Xfinity car for Hendrick at New Hampshire. So good for him.
Why don't they just make a Hendrick Motorsports team for the Xfinity Series to race for the full season?
You tell me. But that's all the silly season news that I had. Gary, I don't know if you had anything or not.
Nothing in the news lately, so or else I would be happy to tell you.
Happy to do.
Dude, I'm still tired. I went to a Tigers game yesterday and it was horrifying.
You know what, Gary? That was creepy as fuck. Disappeared. I'm just a hippo lounging in the sun. Oh, and Gary is dead. Oh, nope, he's back. All right, well, we don't have anything else. Then we can preview this weekend's action. They are heading, the Truck Series and the Cup Series are both heading to New Hampshire. The Xfinity Series is off this weekend. So, yeah, should be fun. It's a cutoff race for the trucks, so going to be some extra desperation there. And for the Cup Series, they're going to be, kicking off their second round, so a lot of positioning and changing of the movement for them to do there. New Hampshire is also another track that's going to be very tough on the brakes. It's going to be very tough on the tires, and it's going to be very tough on the weather because the last few races have not been great there. And I'm also interested to see how New Hampshire is going to be this late into the playoffs, this late in the season.
Let's all
really.
remember the time where it rained and they didn't call a caution or a red flag and wait for it to stop raining, and Kyle Busch went into the first corner and wrecked and then tried wrecking the pace car. This was when he was in the 18 and he was actually good.
True. We'll have to see. New Hampshire is usually not this late in the season. So I'm interested to see how that's going to work. It worked well for Watkins Glen last year, and it worked well for Gateway this year. So I'm hoping that it works good for New Hampshire too. But only time will tell, so we'll have to see. But anyways, who do we think is going to win the truck race?
Well, I was looking at the paint schemes, and I'm going. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. All right, there we go. I'm going with Christian Eckes.
Cool. Looks pretty sweet, actually. I'm going to pick, for playoff shake-up reasons, I'm going to pick Chandler Smith to pull off the upset, sneak his way into the second round, and eliminate somebody else. That's what I think. My other prediction is that the broadcast is going to suck because it's Jamie Little and FS1. And hot damn, they are terrible to watch and listen to. That's my take. All right, Cup predictions. Here we go. Well, it was nice knowing y'all.
And now, by the way, I did take Josh Berry.
Garry, can you have the cup sit like on the screen so it doesn't look like you're jaking it?
Sure. You should not.
It's okay. He's been ass the last few weeks anyways, so.
Well, he's gonna win this time. We can do it. Yeah.
What is that?
Don't worry about it. It's not about NASCAR. I'll show you after we're done.
All right, that is it, though, for this episode of the Live, Laugh, Laugh podcast. Next week, we will see who got eliminated from the truck playoffs, look at the new playoff standings, and preview an awesome action-packed weekend coming to Kansas as we end the month of September. So with that noted, guys, that's going to do it for this video. So stay tuned for other much more amazing content. And until next time, check out more stuff on my YouTube channel, the Pringleson YouTube channel. Until next time, see you guys later. Goodbye.